choreographing Medusa scenes, it grew to be something much bigger than I originally envisioned. It grew into more of a three-part arc. Medusa as priestess in the temple, and then in the rape of Medusa, and then Medusa as Gorgon. It showed not only the transformation of Medusa, but of Apollo and his relationship with Artemis. I did a lot of research into Greek music and dance. I wanted to make it as authentic as I could with whatever records were available to me, but I was able to find the Delphic hymn to Apollo, Apollo being my twin brother, and we were again playing the Medusa scenes as being in the temple of Artemis. There weren't any hymns to Artemis that still survived, so I figured it was okay to use the hymn to Apollo. And I worked with my music director, Bill Webb, and he took the mode that that hymn was in and composed something using the same 5 beats to a measure. And then he took one of the Homeric hymns to Artemis and used the language from that hymn to write lyrics. The 3 motifs were, the first was statues, which were derived from photos and artifacts of Greek temple dancers that I found in some books in the library. So I showed those to my actors. I had everyone pick out 2 dance figures that spoke to them and had them use those in the beginning of the temple scene. Everyone acted as if they were worshipers in the temple. Festivals honoring Artemis were more solemn occasions than some of the other goddesses. And then individually, each of them went into a prayer phrase that I had developed, 6 different gestures that related to things people might be praying for when they come to the temple of Artemis, like having a good hunt, hunting a bear or a bird or snakes. So nature imagery and fertility imagery were things that related to Artemis, and that's what I used. And then the third motif I used was pillars or columns, because I looked at some of the Greek temples to Artemis and other goddesses, and one of the conventions of Greek architecture is the column. In doing my research, I found a beautiful passage written by an architect about how pillars in a temple are like the dancers of a temple, and how through their spatial arrangement they create movement. And I thought that passage was so beautiful I had to include that image in the dance. And that became a really interesting tool to use then for the rape scene, when the worshipers actually become columns and restrict Medusa's escape from Apollo. The rape scene was a big challenge for me because it is such a sensitive topic, and in fact I worked a lot to make sure that they were comfortable with doing a rape scene, and I didn't want to be literal about it. Ultimately, it just came to me one night that I could use the dancers to kind of surround Medusa and Apollo so that they weren't necessarily visible, but so that what was happening was understood to the audience, and really the emotion of what was happening was understood through vocalizations and very subtle movement, with the female actors portraying Medusa's resistance and terror, and the male actors portraying Apollo's persistence.